Hey folks, my name is Pravus, and welcome to more Whiskerwood in Hickory Dickory Dock. I'm quite proud of that name, by the way. I thought that was very clever. Anyway, in the first video, we established our proper colony here of mice at the behest of our cat overlords. And I think we've done fairly well for ourselves. We've grown their population up to 24 mice. Resources are largely looking good. We've even gotten started on some research. And most importantly, we've always been able to pay our taxes. But the real challenge is about to begin because fall ends tonight, which means winter is upon us. And if I ever run out of resources, we may be in some trouble. Now, for now, I'm hoping that these fireplaces are going to be enough to keep things going. It certainly seems like it's going to be for my housing, which is what I really care about right now. But we may very well find out that we need to use things like fuel for all of our housing. And if that's the case, I don't have a fuel source right now, so we're going to end up being in a little bit of trouble. So here's hoping that that is not going to be the case. For now, I'm trying to get more efficient housing where I can tear some of these down in order to get my logs back and then rebuild them with planks at a higher quality level. That should help meet some expectations and give me more logs to keep the fires a-burnin'. At least such is the thought. If I had the option to toss some fuel in here, I wouldn't feel too afraid of it, but no, since it's still a big unknown for me, it makes me a little bit afraid. Let's make sure, by the way, that we continue building out some more warehousing as a form of storage for all of our different materials. Our main warehouse is already full. Now, I do believe at some point there are going to be different ways of connecting all of your storage through different logistics. So we do have things like the logistics hub, where we can have dedicated workers who are pushing carts around, and that could be useful. But also, I believe I've seen on a few occasions something about, like conveyor belts, which makes me think at some point what's going to end up happening is you have a little bunch of nodes of storage that all are going to connect to a giant central warehouse hub. That's my guess. I don't know for sure, though. I do think as we get some additional mice, one thing I want to lean into a bit more is going to be farming. We kind of only played a little bit with that in the last video. We've got some flax, we've got some berries and stuff growing, all of which is nice, though I do believe we'll also be able to place down some trees, which could be useful, just have sustainable logs in a more local location. Also, cotton. Growing lots of cotton is a way of pleasing the cats and sending them a whole bunch of wealth. Since at some point soon, the obvious extraction of copper is going to be kind of exhausted. I can move the mining outpost and get more, sure, but like, it's not going to last forever. Whereas cotton, at least, is a renewable resource. I do kind of wish there was a skip night button in this game, because you can kind of end the day here, so like there is kind of a set ending point. Like once everyone's gone off and done their thing here, like can I just let this auto-calculate and just skip the night? Because there's nothing that happens really that's interesting to me, unless I use the overtime tool, which is something we haven't done up to this point. But a lot of your buildings, you could spend some approval to work overtime and tell people to work at night. The only reason I'm not is because I assume that the workers are going to become exhausted and that's not going to be good in the long term. So we're trying not to do that. Survive the winter! Uh-oh. There is no rescue boat, no alternative choice. Do not waste this colony. Oh wow, what a inspiring set of words there. No advice as to what to do, no last minute resources, no nothing. Okay. On the plus side, no tax ships for a while, so that's good, I guess. So I'm a little concerned about my mice out far away from the colony. You can see that the more they work out here, the colder they get. Are they smart enough that they will return to base once they are cold enough and they can get here before it becomes an issue? Or are they stupid and they're going to freeze to death and I have to start placing heating all over the place or turn off a lot of the buildings that are far away from the colony? We're going to find out. This is kind of an experimentation phase for me. There's my plank abode, though. Hooray, we have improved housing. Something else that might be worth getting are the long stairs. These are also made out of planks instead of being made out of logs. But best of all, they are going to be a better quality and the travel speed is improved. Stairs slow mice down a lot as they climb them. So if you could have something a little bit faster, I could see that being very useful. Well, it certainly seems like everyone's getting very cold, but they're not getting to the point where they would freeze to death even if they've been working out here for a while. So, okay, that's just at 5 degrees though in winter. Once this goes into freezing temperatures at 0 or below, I wonder how much worse it's gonna get. So everyone comes back into the base and everyone starts to warm up nicely. Okay. There's my charcoal furnace. Okay, so the research actually goes by reasonably quickly, which is great. Oh, I found the problem with the long stairs here, though. Okay, so the problem with the long stairs is they are at a different angle. That makes sense. Steep stairs as opposed to the long stairs, fair enough. So this actually changes how we would have to build things out, like, a fair bit. Oh boy, that's gonna get annoying, isn't it? And there's the heavy snows I was afraid of. Okay. So far looking okay here. One thing I guess I could do, it cost me a lot of logs, but I think it's worth it. I'm going to place a campfire over here close to my warehouse, assuming it doesn't set on fire or anything. My thought being, this is going to be a very common traffic area, people bringing resources here to the warehouse all the time. Therefore, having a brief moment to warm up, probably a good idea. Let's keep an eye on everyone's internal temperatures from here on out, though, because I've got a bad feeling we're going to have to turn off a lot of buildings. Supply ship has arrived. I thought there wasn't going to be any supply ships. Okay. I do actually need clothes. That would be useful to me, to be honest. We had a lot of issues with approval in threadbare clothing, so I think I might actually do this, even though it is quite expensive. Let's go ahead and take on all that extra debt. I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, I'm watching a lot of these people getting real cold. But as far as I can tell, it's still not in the danger territory. Like, if I click on you, body temperature is low. Yes, work best in warm temperatures. So maybe your work productivity goes down, but do I see any evidence that, like, you're dying? Not yet. I mean, famous last words, I suppose. So nighttime comes once again. The coldest mice who are working all the way up over here on the trees come back, and they have enough time to warm up. All right. I think what's going to happen then is if the temperature drops any further than this, I'm just going to go ahead and disable some of the buildings that are far away. No more chopping down trees. We should have enough logs to get us through the winter. I'm not risking anyone. I am curious how cold it would be underground. Like if I just go ahead and do a slice down here and just start going down. Okay, it's still really cold. Some games, you know, I could see it being like, hey, if you were to go deep underground, it's a little bit warmer down there, but no. In this case, it does not appear that that is the case. A quest to make sure that all Whiskers have homes. Already done. Thank you for the free approval, I guess. What, does the average player not have enough homes by now? Good God, am I a professional? Could be, actually. I mean, I'm not trying to, like, toot my own horn here or anything, but I am what they call a professional gamer. Whoa, 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 ah, dang it! Okay, apparently if you do not continue putting any fuel on the fire in your campfire, it actually just goes away entirely. Oh, shoot. So now everyone's actually freezing tonight. They messed that one up a little bit. Should have kept tossing logs on here. I kind of thought I'd have a chance to rectify that, but nope. Here's hoping everyone got enough body heat that they're actually okay for a brief moment. Please build these fast. All right, I'm turning off all the buildings that are far away at this point. It is in the -5 degrees territory. That is way too cold. It's fine, though. We've got enough builders sitting around that we should be able to start doing some housing upgrades during the winter. Not usually a good time for that, but, you know, we'll find a way. There we go. Okay, problem solved there. Now the supply ship has arrived. Oh, I really don't want to pay more. I already feel like we have so much debt. I think I can afford to refuse the supplies this time and upset the cats. I think my trust is reasonably high. Gonna bulldoze some homes over here, by the way. Start making room for some better housing. But because I stacked all of this, I have to be careful with how I do it. I have to actually, like, destroy things on top and then work my way down to the bottom foundations. Otherwise, I can't keep building on top of all this. Debt collector is going to be here in 3 days, just in time for when winter ends. And we owe 500 wealth. Ouch, that's going to hurt. Okay, another supply ship. I don't really have much choice but to buy something, or I'm going to burn through too much trust. That sucks. All right, we're going to go for the cheapest option possible. Only 1 day left to go until winter ends. Looks like the temperature is starting to pick back up. I think I'm really looking forward to getting some additional Whiskers once the next season hits us. Because we've kind of hit a point here where I feel like there's a lot more I'd like to do, but I don't feel like I have enough Whiskers to go around to go for all the resource production I want, to do all the farming I want, to do the clothing production I want, and so on. I'd also love to have a second sawmill, frankly, because so far we burned through our planks really quickly. Logs were the issue for a while, but now that I'm relying on planks, nah, it all comes down to those. So a second sawmill might be wise. Are we going to have other options that are better for the campfire? Right, like when we need more heat, let's say by the next winter, what should I be shooting for? There's bonfires, fire tending, heating stoves, a bunch of things I haven't seen yet. Water pipes? Uh-oh. Am I going to have to do a bunch of plumbing? Oh, this game might get complicated. Steam boilers? Okay, this game might actually get really complicated. Hold on. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm excited, but I'm just now realizing I may need to do a lot of rethinking about the long-term, like, layout and logistics of this base. What I would like to do, as just kind of a large project, is probably have some good staircases leading up all the different levels of this island, and then have one giant slide leading directly down to the warehouse. I'll bet you that would make my mice move real fast. Anyway, quest complete. I survived the winter, despite all odds. Thank you for the machinery. Spring is meow. It's still freaking cold, but whatever, it's okay. Have 5 farm workers. 5 of them? Okay, I mean, I was planning on having a bunch of farmers, but sure enough. Gonna rethink all of these farms, though, because, like, maybe I don't want it to be like this. What do I want to grow? I mean, we definitely want to get some food, right? So a berry patch over here is still fine. Flax is a little bit more sensitive when it comes to its fertility. So I guess over here is fine as well. Trees can grow just about anywhere. So I'll grow a bunch of those over in that direction, and then the real question is, what do I do about cotton? Cotton has a lot of good fertility, so I may just take this entire area down here and say, let's just make this one big cotton field. Yeah, something like this. There's that tax ship, by the way. All right, we knew that was going to be a thing. 659 wealth. Can't take it easy on me, huh? I just survived a frickin' winter. All right, whatever. Apparently trinkets are only good for the purpose of making the claws happy, so we could offload a bunch of those if we want to, get some storage space back. Let's see. Flax is worth at least a bit. I have a kind of an excess of flax. Like, I'm not manufacturing anywhere near enough cloaks for this to make sense. I can offload a bit of coal since it's taking up too much of my space, and then sure, we'll just take some trinkets from there. That at least solves the problem. All right, we're going to send exactly the right amount. Full shipment, go. Supplier has arrived. Great. I'm going to take the bare minimum I need. I guess I could refuse some supplies. I'm trying to think, like, if I'd only deliver, like, 75% of the required taxes, I only lose 1 trust. If I've got a really big tax bill, like 400, 500, or 600 wealth or something, and I'd only deliver enough to lose 1 trust, that saves me a lot more money than refusing all these supplies, right? There's probably a way to think that through. Like, I have to sit down and do a little bit of calculations, but I bet you there's a way to manipulate it so you have one really big tax bill, one particular cycle, and you intentionally only deliver a small percentage of it, and you end up walking away with more money than you would have had otherwise. I don't know that that's true, I just feel like it's true. By the way, I don't like any of this. I'm gonna do a quick reroll. Okay, we found another person. I mean, all right, fine. I was looking for a schematic, but I don't want to waste all of my seals. But sure, okay. 1 extra worker. He might be great, he might be horrible, we'll find out. Day 26. Looks like the snows have finally melted. Okay, good. I was getting a little bit concerned about temperatures, but I think we're actually going to be okay. More ships arriving now. Pirates! I was hoping for Whiskers, but all right. So, threat of 6 cannonballs. So I'm guessing the way that this works is if you pay enough, then eventually, I guess it just reduces how many shots they take at you. Like, if you're willing to take 3 shots, but not 6, you pay them up like half of the way. So something kind of like this is my guess. I don't know. I feel like we actually have plenty of machinery. I'm sure that's extremely valuable and we should be keeping it, but like, so far it's not been an issue. So I'm just going to go ahead and send one of those off. That keeps them off my back, and basically it's a question of would I be willing to trade 1 machinery to save a whole load of planks and other buildings? And the answer is yes. So I think that was an okay trade. I might find out I'm wrong. But anyway, please give me Whiskers. Is that them? Oh, thank God. Okay. I was gonna say, we need people so badly. Okay, what do we want here? I don't think I like any of these. Most of them have horrible traits. If you choose to accept even one of them, you are committed to the lot. In this case, I'd rather do a reroll before doing that. There we go. That's a little bit better. Rebellious? See, this is interesting because rebellious, the way that I think it works is you start spreading rumors of discontent and a dream of being free from the cats, and it does make all of your other Whiskers a little bit happier. It makes the monarchists unhappy, but I mean, I don't think I have any, so do I care? I think I'll just go ahead and stick with this. Let's grab a bunch of them, and I think this will have to be good enough for the moment because I don't want the weak knees trait. That's pretty atrocious. Alrighty, progress. Progress is being made. I am going to place a second sawmill, let's say over here for now, because I do feel like we really need to be getting some additional plank production. That is a huge bottleneck for me right now. Supply ships, again, we'll just go for the cheapest option here. Approval has been phenomenal here, by the way. We got 170 today. People don't like the bland food and all that, but like, whatever. It's fine. You're surviving. That's what matters. So, shut up. Everything's looking amazing. And, whoa, hang on. This is new. I thought this was the tax ship. It's not. The tax collector is arriving today, but we have someone totally different. It's a smuggler. Oh, offers to buy goods with gold bullion. Interesting. So we could sell off some of our excess goods, like, let's say, cut stone, and it's worth a lot. So if we sold off 23 cut stone, effectively 483 wealth, we'd get 1 gold bullion, which is only worth about 233 in taxes, I believe. So I'm kind of leaning toward this is not really worth it. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's worth trying. I think what it is a way of getting rid of a lot of goods that otherwise the cats wouldn't buy. Like, they don't care about my cut stone, I don't think. They don't care about my fuel and woven cloaks. So if you have a huge excess of other resources, you could trade them for gold, which you can use to pay off your taxes. I'm not in that situation, so I don't think that's valuable to me right now. Though I do believe we saw gold on another island at one point, so we probably can start making our own eventually. There's the tax ship. We knew they were coming eventually. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and offload some of this. Now, how much trust do we have with you? A fair bit. So here's the thing. If we don't think we're actually going to benefit from this, would it be worth losing 1 trust so that I can just get 1 trust later and then just kind of keep going back and forth between partial and full shipments? Kind of depends on what they're going to give me, but none of this has been useful. You barely ever seem to give me any schematics. I'm kind of leaning toward we just give you a partial shipment. Yeah, screw you, cats. The king is going to be mad, but little do I care. My Whiskers apparently do want more decorations, by the way. That would make them feel very happy. We could continue placing down more of these gardens and stuff. There are also apparently path decorations we could use. Place like a little lamp on the side of one of the little roads here. Oh, that's kind of cute. Yeah, we could make this look real nice. Does it even cost me anything? No, it looks like most of these are actually completely free. Although, that's interesting, a one-way gate. So in some cases, I can actually control the flow of traffic here. Oh, that's interesting. I don't really see the upside of doing that yet, but maybe there is to try and force people to make use of slides or something. I don't know. Let's take a look at our overall inventory of resources. It's worth taking a look at this. We've got lots of stone that we're sitting on and doing nothing with, and that's a small problem. Decent number of some cloaks, some trinkets, not a lot of copper ore or coal remaining. Machinery, etc. Over here, though, it does tell us roughly what we are making, I guess, per day produced in industry, so we know how much we're going to need in order to keep things a-rolling here, which is good. So this is how much we are consuming every day? That's how much we're consuming every day? That's a lot of food. That's a lot of food. Still, this is definitely useful, so we're producing way more logs than I technically need to in order to keep these planks going. That's good to know. That's the sort of thing that I'm looking to figure out how to optimize, because I feel like we're hitting a stage where optimization is going to become key. How are we doing as far as things like cotton and stuff? That is still growing. Looks like eventually we'll be able to do things like fertilizer and stuff like that to make it more effective, which would be great. Boost up that fertility further. We got a decent amount of flax coming together. We're growing a bunch of berries, so that's good. Another big cash crop growing up over here. My hope is we're going to end up having so much cotton that I easily deal with all of the taxes, but we'll find out eventually. I definitely think one thing we could do that would be far more efficient for us is to go ahead and set up even more storage. We had talked about that a little bit earlier. But I'm watching people have to walk way too far away to drop off some of their goods. That's not good. That's no bueno. So I'll go ahead and set up a couple more outposts, and once I find that I have a bit more population that I know what to do with, we'll get ourselves a logistics hub, and I think that's going to speed things up a lot. Way more uptime for our mice actually doing their jobs instead of walking around with goods. Like right now, is anyone producing planks over here? No, because they're all off gathering logs and delivering planks. We could have someone else do that job. So let's go ahead and get that set up. Now we have a couple of logisticians. Now, do I need to manually say what's going to get delivered where? It says there are no pending requests right now, but we do have total warehouses of 7. So the question becomes, how do I link this? Logistics? Do I say I want a minimum number of materials in these areas? Is that how that's supposed to work? Unclear. We can experiment with this. Yeah, if I say I want logs here, this guy leaves this depot to go and find some logs and bring them back. Okay. So actually, the smarter thing to do is not only have drop-off points for resources, but make sure they're all being delivered close to my production areas. So I want to have stone, flax, and logs all being dropped off over here. Okay, it's making sense. So we'll get this built up right here, and then we're going to go to logistics. I'm going to say I want to store at least, let's say, 10 logs here, 10 stone, and 10 flax, just to start. And then we'll also... I could try to deposit, like, planks here, and we'll say that that's a top goal. Same with some cut stone. And, I don't know if I care about dropping off the cloaks here and such. With the weaver, does it get produced in anything else? No, it's flax directly into cloaks. So we don't have any use for, like, fabric and such yet. We'll get there, though. But wait a minute, why is this not working now? I said that I wanted logs delivered. Why are you not delivering logs? I know that I have a bunch. Do I need to go to places like this and say your goal is to empty out the warehouse, so no requests are accepted, just when materials come in, get rid of them? Maybe. Or is the issue that all the resources are being dropped off over here at the woodcutter and that doesn't count? Do the logistics people bring resources from the woodcutter to the storage shed? Or only go from storage to storage? I'm not sure. How much longer until we can harvest some of this cotton? Because taxes are arriving tomorrow. And that tax bill is just getting bigger and bigger. Oh, cotton farms. Well, what do you know? A quest to do exactly that. I'm already ahead of you, man. I am way ahead of you, you stupid cat. One of the big reasons I want to make cotton work is not only because it's renewable, but my thought here is I only have a finite amount of copper on this island, and at some point I'm going to need to make copper bars, right? Like, that's the thing. If we take a look at research here, once we get through all these techs, like, if we want to move on to the next round of stuff and make stone housing and whatever else, we're going to need to have things like planks and copper bars just to unlock that tier. So I know that we need lots and lots of copper. So, with our first round of taxes here, if I were to toss a load of cotton your way, we produce just enough to pay everything off. Over 676. All right. So as long as we can produce enough cotton, I think we are in very, very good shape. Let's discuss your gifts. Honestly, I just feel like none of this is worth it. What else can we get? A new schematic for mushroom farms. Grow underground? I'll pick that up because what it does is it ultimately saves me a lot of resources to research. I think this was like 30 planks to research. So overall, that's a better deal than whatever else they were offering me. Underground farming, though, that's not something I had considered. I do think it might be time to go ahead and start setting up things like some charcoal production. Mainly because I'm looking ahead into some research and thinking, okay, if we want to get an ore furnace and start making copper bars, we're going to need that fuel. Same thing if I want to take the fuel and start smoking the fish and turn it into something a little bit more valuable, right? These are things I can do. Also, there's going to be the organized heating, which I assume is going to be using fuel. It says that, so that would make some sense as well. The only problem is this creates something here called pollution, which up to this point we have not had to worry about. So I need to think about what's going to be my giant polluted area. I think it's going to be kind of over here where all the mine shafts used to be. That seems like a reasonable enough thing for me. Now, what does the charcoal furnace run on? Logs. Okay. So we need to have lots and lots and lots of trees that I can reliably chop down. Now, this is where having some farmers doing that can be quite helpful. We may want to expand that a little bit further and plant down even more trees. Tax season. All right, we've got a lot more cotton to work with this time, though. I wish there was like an auto, like, click to fill kind of button. I mean, we can do like shift and stuff like that, and sure, but I feel like we could do a little bit better than that, you know what I mean? Anyway, so that would be a full shipment, but I think we've already decided that I want to give them a partial shipment because they're not worth that much to me. Thank you. The research is going a little bit slow for my taste, though. I am going to go ahead and start educating another one of my mice, if possible. Somebody who is generally good-tempered. I guess considered is fine. I was hoping for content, but this will be alright. Or maybe perfectionist. I don't care that much. The point is I want to have 2 researchers able to make progress in the lab, because it's just a little bit too slow. If I can get my freaking plank production actually online, though, that would help a lot. Seriously, you burn through so many planks in this game. It's actually a little bit ludicrous. Like, you just You just can't keep up. Now, I do have the small warehouse online, and it looks like these actually do have resource conveyor belts. So, the main warehouse down over here, I think that's what this giant box is. That's like an opening. Yeah, you can see it a lot better during the day. So I think this is where all the conveyors would come into play. Okay. But I'm guessing conveyors are a bit further down the research tree. Just a guess. Yeah, there it is. Conveyor belts. It's not that far down, actually. Just one tier away. I don't think I appreciated just how many different things there are in this game, though. As I scroll down, I'm realizing what I'm setting myself up for. Fluid control, right? Passenger rails, steel, steam engines, precision scales, spices, tea, machinists. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've got a long frickin' way to go in this game, dude. It's not even close. My food is starting to go down, by the way. I'm watching this happen. Not a lot of time to get that figured out. We'll either need to farm out a lot more berries or something. Anyway, there's both of my educated pops. So let's go ahead and work on things like, I guess we could do the smokery, but I mean, really, how much does this matter? I mean, really. Like, sure, we can meet their needs a little bit better and stuff with better fish. Does it get me more fish? Does my food stretch further? Or am I just spending resources meeting expectations I'm already meeting? That's kind of my problem. I guess there's only one way to find out. All right, so there's my smokery. What does this do? Okay, so it actually does increase longevity of my food a little bit. I can see in the bottom right there that 3 fish becomes 5 smoked fish. Okay, so it is worth doing this. Next tax ship. All right, so we have 79 cotton to work with. All right, so that certainly does the job. But oh boy, the taxes are definitely starting to ramp up, aren't they? It's getting worse and worse and worse out here. I mean, this surprises none of us at all. We knew that the cats were going to be increasing their squeeze upon us over time. But mostly it's just all the administration taxes from just growing my population. The larger we grow, the harder it gets. Now, one question I have as we continue generating some of this pollution over here, is there a way to counter the effect of the pollution at all? Maybe eventually we'll have cleaner methods of producing the heat we're going to require, whether that be with steam or something else. I'm wondering if, like, you know, having a bunch of trees could help with that or something. That might be too much to hope for, though. Still, I guess we'll find out as we continue developing this and it gets even worse. Right now, I'm about to finish up with the ore furnace. That's going to be our next tech. After that, we'll work toward organized heating before we get to fall and winter. There's my ore furnace. 1 copper ore becomes 5 copper bars. Day 39 comes to an end. Approval is looking phenomenal. We're pretty much always maxing things out. Smoked fish is very, very popular, it turns out. And we've managed to produce our first of the copper bars, which is neat. I could start placing down some of these slides now if I really want to get things going fast. Oh, you go all the way up to the top of the mountain to do a whole load of farming, and then at the end of the day, whee, down you go. That could be an option for us, actually. It might even be a fun one. But obviously, the big thing we need all of our bars for is going to be getting up to Research Tier 1, so I can move on to using cut stone for things instead. Good lord, there's just such a long way to go still. Like, and that may be one of the problems I might have with the game. And I say problem, I say that kind of loosely, but one thing I've observed. Like, not only does the game speed feel a little bit on the slower side, but it feels like the progression is a little on the slow side. This is not a quick little arcadey game you just get into and, you know, after like 30 minutes you feel like you've made a lot of progress. No, you're gonna have to probably devote, I wouldn't be surprised if it's at least 40 plus hours into a single campaign. I'm not sure we're gonna go that far in this series. It does depend a lot on you guys and if you're enjoying what you're seeing, but it gives us some idea of the depth of this game. It's a little bit more than meets the eye. I do think this is where we're going to end things, though. I feel pretty good about the direction we've gone with this colony. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If so, I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.